nutshell, so there are more revs every time Bruno comes past the pits.
It's absolutely stunning sound. And again, remember, for those watching, a 6-speed manual gearbox. So just imagine driving this car, which is however many hundreds of horsepower at 200 miles an hour, and coming into a corner and trying to outbrake someone whilst having one hand on the steering wheel.
Yeah,
as you change down the
You
box.
think about that at Silverstone, you think about it at Hockenheim, Suzuka, but also think about it on the streets of Monaco, where the surface is not exactly flat. So just a little bump pitching the car one way while you're gear changing. And many a driver used to get to the end of Grand Prix in those days, and their hands, if they had a problem with the gear lever, would be like raw steak. And certainly Monaco really physically didn't take it out of them, but all those gear changes, all that concentration, the possibility to make a mistake. And that is how a lot of races were sorted.
Yes, indeed. And the other thing I love about these cars, if you are in the paddock, ladies and gentlemen, go and have a look at it. Stick your head in the cockpit and you'll just see the simplicity. The lack of buttons. There's about 5. It's amazing to see how complex the cars have become these days, and how relatively recently they were so much simpler.
How in these days you could have a little of space in the middle of the steering wheel to put a little circuit map. The steering wheel was a steering wheel. It didn't have all these buttons and things you could do. But the thing that always strikes me when you look at a car like this, you look inside, it's so small, it's so narrow. Ayrton was average size for a Formula 1 driver, but his teammate Gerhard Berger was very tall indeed and used to really suffer. Then eventually they started changing the rules, so there had to be a minimum size in the cockpit, because you don't want your drivers like Gerhard Berger getting cramp in their legs during a Grand Prix. Imagine that.
No, because you can't push the pedals hard enough. Exactly, that would not be good. So yes, they are absolutely stunning cars, these. And yeah, this one for me is one of the most evocative for McLaren, for the era it represents, for the driver it represents. Ayrton Senna, arguably the greatest Formula 1 driver of all time, the greatest driver of all time to drive for McLaren, and the man that put the team, put McLaren on the map globally in a way that it is still loved around the world because of what he could do in those cars.
No, entirely so. And also of Ayrton's 3 world titles, this was probably the one he enjoyed almost the most. There wasn't the acrimony that he had when he was battling in '88 with Alain Prost when they were teammates, not in '89 when they weren't, and so on, and 90 when they weren't. And by this one, he was hitting against Nigel Mansell, different teams going about things in different way, and they had a lot of respect for each other, and they had some really epic races. That famous shot on the start-finish straight at Barcelona, coming down towards the first corner, sparks coming off the bottom of the car, and they are about, you know, the legendary cigarette paper apart at 190 miles an hour.
The other one for me, which actually went Nigel's way, was the move into the final corner, as was in Mexico, before they put the chicane in, at who knows what speed. Went around the outside into there. That was just breathtaking. But you're right, the images just that this era created, that Ayrton in this car created, as the quality of the television was improving. We've got onboards for the first, you know, really good quality onboards, and some of the footage is iconic even to this day.
I think it really is. The cars looked amazing, and their performance was very obvious. As Bruno Senna starts to wind this up and get faster and faster, you can start to see the balance of the car. He's backing it off a little bit now. I don't know how many more laps, but thank you, Bruno, for showing this car properly, making us listen to that fabulous Honda V12 engine. And you can see the car moving around. You can see that it's a physical thing to drive, and you can almost imagine the downforce he's feeling on the faster corners.
You can indeed, and also the bumps. You know, this is the most aero-dependent car that's driving here today by some considerable margin. And no, the quality of Goodwood surface is fantastic, but you can see bumps that you won't see in an E-Type or a Cobra. They just won't. They're not really there in those cars, but in this they are. Should we listen to this car pass one more time?
Get in a straight line, wind it up. Absolutely fantastic, and down to Madgwick. It's a 2-part corner, but Bruno has got all that downforce. He's got that wonderful clear sweeping line through both of the apexes. Round he goes, so the people wave to him. This might be his final lap at full demo race speed, and it's fantastic, and I'm so glad he's doing it. Yes, we have a puddle on the track. He knows where that is. He's not going near it, but thank goodness this wasn't in the driving rain this morning, because I think it is a very special occasion for a lot of us here. We may never ever see this car being driven at this sort of pace again,
and by Bruno Senna. You know, this is a once in a lifetime kind of moment you're witnessing here, to see Bruno Senna driving out this car at Goodwood. It really is incredible stuff, and this car is actually in private collection. It's not one of McLaren's fleet, so we should also thank the owner so much for for bringing this car down today.
I absolutely concur, Billy, and it's just great to see it at speed. Sometimes we've seen things like the MP4-6 go out the hill at the Goodwood Festival speed, but that's only a short run, only a handful of seconds in the very fastest of hands. But here you can see the car closer to what it was made for.
And they can stretch their legs here. It is a fast circuit, so even in a high-speed demo, and they're very good here at doing a proper high-speed demo. As I said, not 10/10ths, but they don't go around at 25 miles an hour, so you actually really get to see these cars working as they should be.
Yeah, absolutely in the gist of what it was supposed to be. And Bruno waving away, you can hear the applause as he's coming in front of the grandstands and bringing it back into the pit lane. The marshal's about to flag him in. He's a very smiley person, but I think that's going to be a very special smile when he clambers out. That was a great run. I'm really, really impressed with that, and just fabulous.